Okay, let's be real, this shoe is kinda ugly. Clunky, chunky, I don't know. It looks like it was designed on a Windows XP computer. But after testing it on foot, I think it might also be the most comfortable sneaker I've ever owned. This is the ASICS Gel-Nimbus 9, and today I'm breaking down why this retro runner, ugly or not, is low-key a problem. Now, the first time I pulled these out the box, I didn't know whether to wear them or ship them off to my dad. Cause guys, I promise you, when I first saw these on the ASICS website, they looked incredibly nice. In fact, I was so certain that I was getting a mad pair of kicks. But looking at these now in real life, they sort of look like a throwback from 2007, but not in a retro kind of way. And guess what? They are. Originally dropped in the mid 2000s as a high mileage running shoe, the Gel-Nimbus 9 was all about function. Gel cushioning, stability features, breathable mesh, you know, the usual ASICS experience. Now, in recent years, they've started to take on that hybrid runner lifestyle design. And speaking of design, I've seen a lot of people compare this to the Gel Kayano 14s. Now, for me, I didn't really see the resemblance at first, which I now admit was down to this particular colorway. Because once I did some browsing and compared it to the white and silver with dark overlays, the resemblance became a bit more apparent. You can see they look quite similar, but I guess when you put them side by side and take a closer look, you start to see some subtle differences in the curves and the shape of the overlays. And then just closer to the heel area, you've got the Gel-Nimbus 9 printed as opposed to the Gel Kayano 14s. If you look at the sole, however, it's the same gel technology across both, but again the shape on the Nimbus looks a bit more boxy than the curvy look on the Gel Kayanos, which I actually prefer the Gel Kayanos because it just looks a bit more futuristic. The outsole of the Nimbus, however, looks amazing to me. Rugged, rough, intricate, nice blend of rubber and plastic. I could already tell that the traction on these would be excellent. So moving on to fit, I tried this with a pair of baggy jeans and I must say I was quite surprised because it looked pretty good. Better than expected actually, if you consider that I didn't really think it looked great in hand. It just has a very contemporary and trendy look while maintaining that ASICS design language with the overlays and the mesh. I also tried it with a pair of joggers and I'm not sure if it was the color combination or the fit, but something about the silhouette just looked a bit disjointed. I think this is a pass for me, to be honest. Finally, I tried it with a pair of straight cut jeans and this took the cake for me. The color blend, the fit, it all just looked really coherent this time and blended quite nicely with each other. Defo my favorite fit of all four, but I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this fit, so what would you rather wear with yours? But if we move on to comfort, guys, once I put them on and started to get a feel of them, yo, I get it. The gel inserts in the heel and the forefoot do exactly what they're supposed to do, and that is absorb shock like a sponge without feeling mushy. And the midsole isn't overly soft either. It's got that responsive bounce that makes you want to keep moving. Whether you're walking or just chilling, I honestly didn't want to take them off. And to be honest, this actually felt better on foot than half the hyped comfort sneakers I've worn in the past year. Now heads up, these run a bit small, so if you've got wide feet you might want to go half a size up. The mesh upper is breathable, the toe box feels quite snug, so yeah, it's got all the qualities you'd expect from a performance shoe. Also, they are quite light, but given the grade of materials on this, you wouldn't be expecting any levels of weightlessness like you find on the ASICS 1130s or the Tributos. Now price, I purchased this sneaker directly from ASICS for £160. Now I'll admit this is slightly above what I would consider appropriate for what this shoe offers. I think if you look at it as an ASICS shoe, then yeah, maybe in the ASICS hierarchy it should be priced above some less premium offerings, but then when you consider its counterparts from other brands, it starts to feel like it's a bit overpriced. You could argue that it offers a lot in the comfort department, but how much of a difference does that actually make in real life settings? My guess is not a lot. So yeah, for me, I think £140 would have been optimal. But then again, who am I to lecture a $17 billion company on pricing strategy? I'm just going to shut up and move on. Okay, so what's the verdict on the ASICS Gel-Nimbus 9? Well, like I said guys, I think this shoe is simply ugly, to be honest, and I don't often think that. I think the color blend of blue, black and silver just didn't work for this design. The materials feel premium but don't look it, which just takes away from that aesthetic appeal. I'm giving it a 4 for design. In terms of durability, I actually think these are solid, guys. In fact, I think if you combine the build quality with the dirt resistant colorway, you get a sneaker you can actually wear every day without having to worry about stains, wear or tear. From the upper to the sole, everything feels compact and tough but cushioned. I'll give this an 8.5. Speaking of comfort, guys, I think these are extremely comfortable on foot. If there's one thing that should convince you to get this sneaker, guys, it's comfort. Its toe box is mostly mesh, it's breathable, it hugs your feet but feels so cushioned on the inside, and the gel technology in the sole just shields your feet from shock while you're walking around. I'm gonna give it a 9. For the fit, I think this did quite well, to be fair. Actually better than I expected, because in hand I didn't really think this looked particularly great. I'm gonna go with a 7. For traction, I was really impressed with these, guys, and it was no surprise because you could tell from the sole that these would fare really well on most surfaces. The patterns are visibly rugged and tough, and that translated into the on-foot experience. I definitely feel confident on any surface if I did have these on. I'm gonna give this an 8. For price, as I've said, guys, I actually think it's too steep at £160, especially if you consider that the Gel Kayano 14s, which in my opinion look better than these, are equally comfortable and are going for £140. I think most people would rather go for those than these. ASICS claim that the cushioning on these are a bit more premium, hence the price difference, but it's not what is said on paper but how it feels in real life, so I'm going to give it a 6. Now, performance can be a bit tricky because what are you going to base it on? You could argue that this isn't necessarily a running shoe as it has since transitioned into a lifestyle casual, but judging from my on-foot experience, it honestly still retains all its performance qualities as it's snug, cushioned, roomy and practically weightless. Only reason I wouldn't run in these, guys, is because obviously I got mine to serve as a lifestyle casual and not a hybrid. I'm going to give this an 8.5. Now, for status, as you know, despite a resurgence in popularity in recent years, ASICS is still not considered a luxury brand. It's not Versace and it's definitely not Dior. It is a high street sneaker brand with a focus on functionality, affordability and more recently, style. So despite being one of the more premium models in the ASICS lineup, it's still not considered a status symbol. Therefore, I'm gonna give this a 6. But then, guys, you know what I always say, brands do not always equate to value, so if you're not into brands and status, this metric should not matter to you too much, so please go ahead and ignore this. That being said, guys, overall this shoe gets a 7.1, which I think is a solid score considering the assessment criteria. I still think they don't look pretty, but I wonder if that's kind of the point. The more I look at them, the more I start to think that maybe this was all intentional. Maybe the Gel-Nimbus 9 falls into this new category of fashion where chunky ugly is now a flex. You've got New Balance, Hoka, even luxury sneakers like Balenciaga all riding that same wave. So yeah, maybe ugly's the new pretty. But who is this shoe for? Well, despite the lack of aesthetic appeal, it is comfy and durable, so I'd say if you're looking for convenience and functionality, this shoe is for you. You can wear it every day without worrying about cleaning, discomfort, or what outfit to match it with. So yeah, go for it if that's what you're looking for, and do let me know in the comments, would you be rocking the Gel-Nimbus 9 or is it too ugly for your taste? So that's it for today's review, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more sneaker content. Follow the link at the top if you'd like to watch the review of the D&G Portofino sneakers. And as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Let me know what you thought of the shoe. If you think you're gonna get one, or if you've got one already, let me know what your experience has been. Until next time, guys, stay stylish and see you in the next video. Peace.